Hello and welcome to another episode of Bikini Things. You got a solo episode here of Laura in the home studio. And today we are going to be talking about how to get sponsorships. Very exciting topic, very relevant. We all know if we've competed before that competing, even as a pro, is an expensive hobby for 99.9% of us. So we're going to talk about that. There are more episodes on the way, and I really want to thank you, the listener, for your patience. Sammy and I have had some technical issues transferring files from our in-person podcast recording. We both, I think, were a little bit decimated schedule-wise by the Arnold Expo a few weeks ago, and around that time too, because I wasn't working it, but right during that week was when almost all of my clients, I had to move from the Fit Body Fusion software into my own personal training app software. So that was a huge amount of work. And alongside the travel, like I said, it kind of decimated the both of us. So we are catching up, but we are very committed to bringing all of you consistent weekly episodes with great content. So let me share my screen. I've got a PowerPoint presentation I brought to my clients this past weekend on how to get sponsorships. But before I do that, let me close the door real quick. Okay. All right. Ooh. Little Frankie Franks is in the room with me. It is late at night, but we are struggling for brain power and energy towards the end of our day. So we've got a little bit of decaf coffee, some agua. So let me get this pulled up. Okay, beautiful. So like I mentioned, this is a PowerPoint that I did with my clients. I do weekly Zoom calls with my clients now. I used to do monthly. It's been so fun. And I try to bring them a lot of value each week. So the topics really vary. There may be more Bikini Things episodes like this in the future. So let's talk about how to get sponsorships. Okay. So first of all, what are the types of sponsorships that competitors can get? And this is, there's such a wide variety of topics or I should say there's such a wide variety of industries, different types of sponsorships you can get. So imagine for stage wear, we can have a bikini sponsorship, jewelry, heels. For males, you can have posing trunks like Chula Wear, Dark Sport, things like that. Apparel sponsorships, supplement companies are most likely going to be the most common and easiest to find sponsor because there are many companies both in the US and internationally. We've got meal prep companies. You can get meal prep sponsorships. You can get sponsored with your gym membership. Tanning companies like ProTan, Liquid Sunrays offer sponsorships. You can have skincare sponsorship. So there are such thing as spas and estheticians and things like that who offer treatments, med spas. I've known people that have had hair sponsorship. So for example, I believe Stage Ready Hair sponsors Ashley Kay for what she wears on, like her hair piece that she wears on stage. And I've known clients that have had like hair extension sponsorships. There are coaching sponsorships. And even like our med spas, our MD clinics, our chiropractors, body work, things like that. There's so many sponsorships. Here in Southern California, we have OCD Cookie Company. So they even have athletes that are sponsored athletes. I'm not sure if they have codes or earn commissions or how that works, but they have a cookie sponsorship, you guys. So a cookie sponsorship may not help you too much during your prep, but what a cool thing. And if you are earning commissions and, affiliate, percentages and things like that, that is really going to help you earn more money so that you can make competing a sustainable, viable hobby for yourself. So what are the most common ways to get a sponsorship? Let's talk about that first. So the first one I would say is going to be, and probably the biggest one, is going to be networking. And I truly mean in-person, face-to-face networking is going to be the best bang for your buck. So what I really recommend here is attending as many shows, events, expos as you possibly can, and just seeking to meet people and build relationships. I never, ever recommend going up and meeting people essentially with your hand out. And, I would never, ever recommend walking up to a booth at an expo or show and the first thing out of your mouth is, hey, are you sponsoring athletes? That is the worst way to go about it. And we will jump into why in just a moment. So in-person networking, relationship building is going to be huge. your social media presence as well. This is so important nowadays. And some of the top paid athletes are not actually the best athletes in their divisions. They're actually the ones with the biggest social media following, because social media is very easy to monetize, particularly things like YouTube, Instagram, where maybe they're doing sponsored posts and whatnot. It's very easy to monetize. Some of the top athletes really don't even have the best social media. So this is so huge, you guys. You can develop relationships, demonstrate your capabilities, whether you are an amateur or pro, that really the sky's the limit. You can directly contact or request an affiliate or sponsorship position through a company. Many of these companies have programs on their website you can literally apply to. So we'll talk about that as well. And then there are things like athlete searches or sponsorship searches. And one that just wrapped up this week was the Shoe Fairy athlete, or angel, I think Shoe Fairy Angel sponsorship. So that was a very cool program they did. It was open to anyone, amateurs and pros. So there are many, many ways we can seek these out and find these for ourselves. And I'll talk about specific tips and ways to get them in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the ever important topic of what sponsors are actually looking for. So they're going to look for someone who will represent their brand in an ideal way. So really think about the messaging, values, marketing position, branding of this company that you're thinking about. You know, for example, if it's a more hardcore brand where more of the athletes and the artwork are more of like tattoo, hardcore, things like that, most likely you should align with that brand. Like whatever their value and positioning in the market is, you should be a good fit for that. And in general, what I always recommend is you want to conduct yourself really professionally. So one thing I have on here is someone who conducts themselves in a way that's not going to negatively affect the brand. No company, no supplement company wants to bring on someone that they think will be risky or they think will not reflect well on them due to how they conduct themselves either in person or online. So you've really got to think about that. And I really want to encourage you, the athlete or the listener, to think about how you are branding and positioning yourself. That's right, you guys, you are your own personal brand. Whether it's small scale or you've got a YouTube channel or whatever that is, truly try to think of yourself as your own personal brand. What are the qualities that you have? What is your niche? What is your market? Who are you? At a very simple level, I think for myself, I kind of consider myself the like nerdy or slightly nerdy, slightly dorky girl next door to some extent, because I have my background in engineering and science. And I think who I am as a person, and I've had a little bit of I would say I would consider myself a late bloomer in life. And in terms of how I look, I think nowadays I get complimented a lot more often on my physical appearance than I ever did growing up. And it's because I look different and I've really worked hard on my body and how I take care of myself and things like that. I had a broken nose in high school. So that's really how I consider myself. It's like a little bit, that little dorky element, but ultimately, bona fide bikini athlete, someone who's very passionate about what they do, but someone who's also seeking to be educated and knowledgeable about whatever they're speaking on. And that's who I am, right? I'm a Midwest gal. That's my deal. That's my brand. Maybe I'm perceived differently from others, but that's at least how I view myself. So really try to think of yourself as a personal brand and develop that, do some journaling or some brainstorming if you don't have that idea or that conception of who you are as a person. And they also want someone, here's the big part, who can and will drive sales. Those are two different things. There are many athletes, even really top athletes with huge social media followings, that have gotten fired or let go of their contracts because they were not fulfilling the requirements set out by the company. If they were not posting, they were not sharing, they were not working the events or doing the things they need to do, companies can move on. They don't need you that much. There are so many athletes out there. So you've got to be willing to engage, post, fulfill the requirements enthusiastically, and really be a partner with them. And those who also have more of a following or more presence or more influence. And so it doesn't even necessarily mean the biggest social media following. That could also be something like having a lot of clients. If you're a trainer, let's say you're a trainer and you've got a lot of clients, either in person or online, or you're very influential. You're the fit person in your circle of family. Oh my gosh, family, friends, coworkers. My brain is like moving faster than my mouth can right now, you guys. It's like 8 o'clock at night and the battery's low. So if you're influential in that circle of family, friends, coworkers, and you can influence them to buy products, there you go. You may not need a giant social media following to be successful. And then the last piece related to that is ideally they want someone who is good with social media. Again, that doesn't mean you have to have the biggest following. That just means that you know how to use it. You can create content with good lighting, that's appealing. You can write good captions. And you guys, it's so much easier now than it ever has been to be good at this. There's so many, YouTube channels that teach you how to do this. You can use ChatGPT to write captions. Like there's so much you can do. And ideally, that partner, that sponsored athlete, is going to help them create content. And an example I'll share of this is my suit sponsor, Toxic Angels Bikinis. They're a company I've worked with since 2017. Love them. I truly believe they are the highest quality suits in the industry, whether I'm an athlete or not. I've seen and felt all of the other suits in my hands, all the other brands. So I truly believe they're the best out there. And sometimes they will send me posing suits or things like that to just have. Sometimes they will send me things and say, hey, we want to send you this. Will you make X, Y, or Z? But a lot of times they will just kind of send me stuff as I request it. And I kind of have free reign. There are times too where I really will just proactively create content. One of the reels, that one of my best performing reels, or the first time I really had a reel kind of like pop off and do well, was just me kind of filming a bunch of stuff, taking posing videos and all that. And I just made a silly one of, me cleaning the kitchen in my Toxic Angels posing suit. And I tagged them as a collaborator. They loved it. It was very funny. It got a lot of reach. And something like that it's free content that they're getting without having to bug me. I'm being proactive and I'm creating interesting, unique content that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So someone who is able, willing to do that, excited to do that, it helps the brand create more content for their social media or things they may be able to reuse in marketing campaigns or emails or whatever it is. So these are the key qualities that sponsors are looking for in general too. I always think, whatever you're posting and sharing and all that, and how you show up in person, like being clean cut, being professional, part of that is the appearance, but part of that is literally how you conduct yourself, how you speak. I've been posting a lot of videos recently especially on Instagram, where I'm like post workout and I'm all sweaty. So, take what I'm saying with the grain of salt. But really just conducting yourself in that professional, friendly, enthusiastic way. Remember too, that a lot of these sponsored athletes, these supplement companies or brands, they may want you to work an expo or an event or something like that. And if you cannot talk to people, if you are unwilling to talk to people, if you're not friendly, they're probably not going to want to work with you. So truly think about all of these qualities, how you can best encapsulate all of that to market yourself. Went too far. Okay. Let me get a little sip of my coffee. So before we move forward with how to get these sponsorships, let's talk about how to evaluate them. Because let's say you get offered something. We do not want to just say yes to everything that comes our way, kind of like in dating. You don't want to say yes to just anything and everything that will come your way, right? If you're looking to get married or get engaged, you can only be married or engaged to one person. You cannot say yes to everything. So let's break this down a little bit. The first thing you want to think about is, are their products or services something you would buy yourself at full price? If you would not go and buy that tub of protein powder at full price, if you would not go and buy that bikini, and ideally you've done that already. Like any company you're sponsored with, ideally you've already bought their products, you've already been using their products, and you love their products. And if you wouldn't go and buy their products or services, I do not think that is a good fit. Think about whether you could actually genuinely and enthusiastically promote a product that you would not buy yourself. How can you expect to convince anyone else to buy something if you would not buy it yourself? So that's a little bit of a tell there. The next one is, can you complete the requirements or the social media requirements they have specified in the contract? So pretty much any sponsorship will have, some form of a contract. It may be one sheet, it may be a longer document. It really varies depending on what the role and requirements are. And you need to read through that, you guys. So I know nowadays, a lot of us, we've got ADHD. We don't like to read. We want the quick, TikTok, Instagram reel, distilled version of all the information. We don't have time to sit and read an email or sit and read a document. It's actually kind of crazy. I shouldn't go on a tangent there because I will. But you want to make sure you read that contract, understand the requirements, and can you complete them? So for example, if a company is asking you to do 2 posts or 2 Instagram reels per week, can you do that? Do you have the time? Do you have the, content? Do you have the quantity of content to pull that off and do it consistently? Because it's not just once, it's every single week for ideally a long-term contract. Many contracts are a year, maybe 2 years long. In general, a year is pretty standard. So really think about, can you actually complete these requirements? And then alongside that, does the compensation that they are offering make sense with the time and effort required to maintain that sponsorship? So let's use that same example. Let's say we've got this hypothetical supplement sponsorship, and they want you to do 2 high quality video reels per week. Okay. And let's say the offering that you're getting from that is $50 worth of free product. So $50 worth of product for 8 reels. Let's say each of those reels to film, edit, post, meaning write a caption, tag anyone, choose the cover image, all of that takes you about an hour each. So that would be 8 hours of your time per month for $50 worth of free product. You guys, if you can't tell where I'm going with this already, let me break it down for you. Working minimum wage at anything for 8 hours will get you more than $50. So that is not a very good deal. At the end of the day, sponsorships, side hustles, etc., they have to be practical. So you got to do this math. You got to break this down and make sure that what you are getting is worth the time investment that you will need to put in consistently. So if it's 8 hours of your time for $50, that is not a good deal. I would highly encourage you, go do Postmates deliveries, go deliver Instacart, go walk dogs. Like, there are so many other side hustles you could do to make more money than what they were offering in that specific scenario. And then the last one is, can you foresee this being a long-term relationship? Ideally, we want our sponsorships and partnerships to be long-term. We want the brand to support us. We want to grow with them. They want to support your growth as an athlete. And it's more work for everyone if we're constantly hopping from brand to brand, company to company. So this should be something that you don't just see right now this month, but you could see long-term. So really consider that, really think about that. And in just a moment, I'm going to get to some examples, but these are kind of the talking points and things I really want you to think about. So my general tips for pulling this off, for getting sponsorships. So the first thing is, like I said earlier, go to as many shows, expos, events in the industry as you possibly can. Any event in your area, you should be there. Put it on your calendar, prioritize that. And also, prioritize going to the bigger ones too, things like Olympia, the Arnold, maybe the Los Angeles Fit Expo, or other Fit Expo events around the country. Those are great too. And just meet people, you guys. Build your network, build your connections. For me, this was something I think I was forced to do because I did not grow up in California. I got transplanted here in 2014 by my environmental cleanup job. So I was working in engineering, environmental cleanup. I got transplanted here and I have no family. I had no friends. And I pretty soon realized that I needed to make friends. I needed to meet people. And getting into the world of competing in bodybuilding, it really allowed me those opportunities. And I kind of spread my wings. I was side hustling a lot. I was working muscle contest shows for years. I was doing promos for Mutant Supplements, and I'm going to talk about my long-term work with them in just a moment too. But that really helped me get my network and my roots settled, because I realized, like, hey, if I want to make California home, if I want this place, this beautiful, amazing place to be mine, I need to have relationships. I need to know people. So you may not have that like same imminent pressure. You may have a lot of social connections in your area, but get out there, just get involved, you guys. Go to seminars, go to posing seminars, pay for the posing seminars. I went to every posing seminar available when I was a new competitor. And now it's so fun that I get to host them. Sometimes free ones, sometimes paid ones. Like, I just love doing it. And if I get asked to teach at a seminar or work a seminar, if I can squeeze it in my, like, if I can fit it, I will always do it. So again, get involved. So the next one, be conscious of how you present yourself. And that is in person, online, on social media. Be thoughtful with what you're saying, be thoughtful of what you're commenting on posts. People can see what you're saying. People talk. And it's also a small world, particularly in bodybuilding. So it truly is a small world. Many of us coaches, we know each other. Many people who work at one supplement company, like more on the, office, not the athletes, but like the people who are actually running the businesses, managing these promo teams, they may go from supplement company to supplement company. So if you've established a poor reputation at one brand, guess what? That athlete manager who didn't like you over here is now working over here. And when you want to get a deal with this supplement company, that door and that opportunity might be closed to you. So really be thoughtful with how you present yourself. Create that sense of what personal brand, or what your personal brand is, or at a minimum, like, what are your values? What are the principles you live your life with? So for me, outside of what I was describing earlier, I am a person who really values hard work. I'm a person who really values knowledge and education and self-improvement, that growth mindset concept. Those are all things that are really important to me. And I think that really comes across in the content I put out online, how I speak to people. And so it doesn't have to be this whole like, oh, again, I hope it doesn't come off like overly pretentious, but truly think about who you are. What is your brand? What are your values? What are the principles? What are the core values you have that guide your life, right? It's as simple as that. And then focus on building your social media and yourself as an athlete first. So what I really want to convey to, especially to newer competitors, you may need to make competing affordable. If you don't have a lot of sponsors and things like that, you guys, you may need to side hustle. And I could do a whole separate podcast episode on this. You may need to side hustle. Like if money is a little tight and you're having a hard time budgeting for competing, go get a side hustle. And while you're side hustling, build your social media, build yourself as an athlete, do all the things you need to do, and trust that with time, you're going to get better at social media. You're going to build a bigger following. You're going to become a better athlete. If you're not winning your class, you're going to start winning your class. If you keep going, if you don't quit, you're going to get that pro card. And trust that that process will happen and these sponsorships will come. Okay. I know that can be hard. I know patience is hard for all of us nowadays. I've become a more patient person through coaching, but I would not describe myself as a naturally patient person. So I know it's hard, but to some extent, you just got to trust the process, do what you need to do, focus on the actions and the habits, not the outcomes, and the outcomes will arrive when they're meant to. So the last one, and this is very, very actionable. I did this myself in like 2017 or 2018 as I was trying to figure out how to afford competing and make this all work, is make a list of brands. So on your computer, on your phone, piece of paper, make a list of brands that you love and that you shop from and that you would just be so excited if you had a sponsorship. Make the list as big as possible too. So maybe it's, all the supplement brands that you like. Maybe it's all the apparel brands that you like. And then go through their websites and contact them. Many of these companies already have affiliate programs, affiliate positions that you can apply for. Very simple. And if they don't, guess what? They're going to have a contact email somewhere on their website. And a human reads those emails. So even if they don't have an affiliate program, you can email them and say, hey, supplement brand, I'm a really big fan of your products. I buy your vanilla milkshake protein every month. It's my favorite. It gets me through my workouts. If you have any opportunities for affiliate positions or anything like that, I would love to learn more. If you need more information from me, please let me know. Here's my social media. Here's a bit about me. Thank you so much. You never know. Most likely, at a minimum, you'll get an emailed response back. Sometimes I've done that in the past, and I would email brands. I remember I used to email apparel brands that I loved that I wanted a sponsorship with. And sometimes they would email me back and say, "Hey, Laura, thanks so much. Here's a link to apply for our affiliate program." And I was like, yes, let's do this. So at one point, I think that happened with me in Riderwear. Loved it. Very exciting. I remember I was making a list of all the supplement brands I loved back then. And I'm going to go through with you guys just really quickly how I got a lot of sponsorships. And when I say that too, there are different types of sponsorships, and that's perhaps a slide I could have put in here. There are things like salaries, not very common. These are typically going to be reserved for your top athletes or those that have the biggest social media followings out there. More typically, you're going to see affiliate positions, which are like referral codes. So the discount codes that many people have, and that affiliate is getting a commission from the sales that they're driving, right? You can also have sponsorships that are free products, okay? Again, free products only. I definitely encourage you to make sure it's worth your time. A lot of these as well, like supplement brands, more often right now, are a mix of commissions, the affiliate codes, as well as free products. Like that's typically the most common. And then, if you're an athlete or a pro, maybe they've got some type of bonuses based on placings or competitions. That is very common. So with that said, let's talk about some of the various sponsorships and how I came about them during my tenure so far as a 6-7 year competitor. So my suit sponsor, Toxic Angels, that I think the world of, they're amazing. They were my first bikini. I bought a bikini from them back in 2017 for my first show. They got me a rush order because my coach and I didn't know when I needed to order it. I didn't realize they took so long to make. They got me a rush order in less than a month. I was eternally grateful to Margaret, and it started the relationship. Later that year, I was posing with Mary Quimson, who is now the director of operations for Toxic Angels. At the time, she was an athlete with them, and she very soon after that got promoted to the social media manager. And Mary got me pulled in to help with events. So back in 2017, I worked the Anaheim Fit Expo for them, which was a 2-day event, in exchange for a free fully stoned bikini. And you guys, I was so excited. I had just gotten my boobs done and I needed a new bikini. And those were over $600 at the time. And for a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday of my time, I worked Monday through Friday. So those were my free days anyway. That was very worth it to me. And I knew that it was an awesome opportunity. And I knew I wanted to do a really good job. So I was just meeting Margaret, the owner. Mary was there along with many other workers and athletes. And it was a great experience. And I think I did a great job because they continued to ask me to work local events. And in 2020, I started doing bikini fittings and started doing sales for them. So that was an actual employment versus just an athlete sponsorship. During that time, I was, 2017, 18 on, I was like a sponsored athlete. And I'm forgetting what I got in my contracts back then. But by 2020, I was an actual employee, 1099 employee or independent contractor, I suppose. And so I was doing all these suit fittings, getting paid with those. And basically the way things worked was I got the suits covered. So whatever suits I needed, I still am a sponsored athlete. And from time to time, I still work events for them, which I love to do. I've worked the Arnold multiple times. I worked the Olympia for them in 2022. It's so fun. I love designing suits. So if you guys have questions, still feel free to hit me up, even though I can't order your suit. And it's been just an amazing relationship. And so that came through networking. If I had not been posing with Mary as my posing coach, I would not have had that opportunity. So again, get out there, get social, make connections. Apparel companies, like I mentioned at one point, I had an affiliate role with Riderwear, and that largely started because I used to make these Riderwear try-on hauls on YouTube back in like 2020, I believe. And I would wear their clothes a lot. I loved their clothes back then. I would post them and tag them. I emailed them. So that was one of persistence. And that was not networking, but that was me making the content, putting myself out there. And that was really cool. I hope to have more apparel sponsorships in the future. I'm going to be doing more try on hauls on YouTube, so I'm excited for that. Supplements. Okay, this is a huge one. Mutant Supplements was and is an amazing brand based out of Canada. And I worked with them long term from 2017 to 2020. And I got connected with them through a muscle contest show. I believe the Titans Grand Prix that I competed in 2017, they had someone working a booth. We got connected at that show. I spoke with them. They really liked that I was professional. I was working in engineering back then. I can be very well spoken when I need to be. Sometimes on these podcasts, you guys, I feel like I lose my mind, or being out of the engineering world, I find myself using more filler words than I ever used to, because it's just, my life is very different now. So anyways, they liked me. They brought me on as a promo athlete. So that meant that I would do these promotions where I would go to a gym or supplement store. I would get paid $25 an hour to have people try the products and try to get them to buy them. And so that was great. And I was doing a good job. They really liked me. I was friendly. I was outgoing. These large supplement stores that sold their products were giving them very good feedback about me. I had store owners contacting the company saying, yeah, we really like Laura. She's doing such a great job. Our customers love her. And there was one store in particular, a very, very large supplement store here that I was at very often. And it's like even the customers started to know me because I was there so often. And I just genuinely loved going there. So it was such a good fit. And in 2018, they offered me the role of managing the entire US promo team, which was so cool, you guys. Back then, I was side hustling as a personal trainer outside of my full-time job. Like I mentioned, I am the queen of side hustles. So that will probably have to be another episode, because I understand that competing can be expensive. And I've done a lot of things to make my way, and I want to share that knowledge with you guys. So, like I said, I was able to stop the personal training side hustle to become the promo manager, which ultimately was more flexible. I could work from my laptop. I could work from my cell phone. I was basically just scheduling everyone in the US, different areas of the country, setting them up with their supplement stores, collecting availability, emailing store owners, texting store owners. I could do that during my lunch hour at my engineering job. I could do it in my evenings and whatever free time I had. I could do it, I could be texting while I'm on the cardio machine in my preps. It was awesome. And I started getting paid commissions every time someone did a promo. It wasn't very much, but when it was the entire team and I was incentivized to book as many of them as possible to drive sales, it was great. And it was this amazing side hustle. I loved working with that company. Their products are top notch, and I still stand by that. I still love their products. I have a lot of clients that use those products too. And I got to work a lot of amazing events. I got to work the Olympia multiple times. I got to work, I believe I worked the Arnold. I know I worked the LA Fit Expo a few times, and it just was a really incredible relationship. And I felt so lucky, and I felt very appreciated. I think that was maybe somewhat of a unique circumstance. At the time, they had this promo team. It is a very masculine brand. And I was this, friendly apple pie girl next door who was easy to talk to and very enthusiastic. And it was just a great fit. And I worked with them all the way through early 2022, or excuse me, early 2020. And during that year, things obviously changed. That promo program went away, and the changes to the affiliate program didn't really feel like a good fit anymore. One of the biggest things I struggled with just doing online sales, affiliate codes, etc. Like I mentioned, it's a very masculine brand. Almost all of my clients are women. And as silly as it sounds, a lot of times, if you have this very hardcore, very masculine brand, women look at that packaging or they look at that brand and they think, oh, that's not me. So it doesn't matter how amazing the product is, they didn't want to buy it. And so I realized pretty quickly I needed a more gender neutral brand to work with, or one that was a little more female friendly, ultimately, to be a good sponsorship. And we're still very friendly. I love them dearly. I always go say hi at the meet and booth every expo, every big event. So that was an incredible just partnership, and I'm very grateful for that. I had a supplement sponsor briefly in like 2021. They were more of a CrossFit brand. I wasn't driving enough sales, and you guys, they fired me. It definitely made me feel down, but ultimately I knew that I think even from the get-go, I think I knew it wasn't a good fit. Um, I think I learned a lot in that process, and they were just truly about sales, driving sales. Their products were a little different. They were a little bit on the expensive side, and so there were some red flags there, and I think I've learned a lot from that. So right now I'm with Global Formulas, and they're an amazing brand. They are such an amazing brand for bodybuilders. They support all of these shows. They're such a presence at muscle contest shows. They're at all of these big expos. And I truly feel like a part of the family. And, it's been such a pleasure to work with them. So I really feel like I'm in the right place. Meal prep sponsorships. Excuse me. This is one that I've had as well. So, like I mentioned, when I was doing those mutant promos and I was going to supplement stores, one of these supplement stores had a meal prep company, a local one, that would drop off meals for the customers at the store to purchase and go pick up there. And because I was doing such a good job at my promos, and this is here where networking comes into play, you guys, the owner of the supplement store talked to them and said, "Hey, Laura's awesome. Why don't you sponsor her? Why don't you give her some free meals and she'll talk about you, she'll post about you, and more people will buy it." And so that was amazing. For a while, like I was getting free meals, made my life so much easier and more affordable. And ultimately we did kind of split ways. One of the things that personally didn't work for me, I think they felt like I wasn't driving enough sales at the time, and I see their perspective. From my perspective, bodybuilding, we're so meticulous with food. And there were times where, especially as I was getting into prep, I would weigh out the food. It was supposed to be 14 ounces of protein. It would be 2.5. I would tell them no butter, no oil. I would eat the food, look at the bottom of the dish, and it's coated in like an oily substance. So I just felt very nervous and very apprehensive eating the meals. And so we did part ways, but at the time it was awesome. And you guys, there are these big companies, MegaFit, Trifecta, Icon Meals, that they do have athletes and affiliates and sponsorships. But even if you don't qualify for that or you can't get something like that, there are local meal prep companies everywhere. Go buy their meals, go talk to them, go meet the owners of the company, start there. And if you're passionate enough, if you're a trainer and you're telling all of your clients to go buy their meal preps, I would not be surprised if you get offered some form of a sponsorship or something. So it never hurts. Gym membership was one that I had as a sponsorship at the local UFC gym. And that was great. It was a free membership. That was something that came through my Instagram DM inbox. So you guys, you truly can get sponsorships from social media. You can have people approach you. There are a lot of scams and things out there, so you got to be a little careful, but they exist. So back in, I think this was 2018, I had the manager of the UFC gym, and I think they do this a lot. So again, there are UFC gyms everywhere. There are gyms everywhere. They reached out to me. I met with the manager. We hit it off. Again, they liked that I was professional. I had this, nerdy engineering girl who was friendly and approachable and into fitness thing going on. And they basically said, "Hey, Laura, we just want you to post, this number of stories or this many posts each month, and your membership's free, as long as you want." So for years, I had a free membership there. Obviously, 2020 changed a lot of things. The gym was shut down for a while, so that did go away. But that was incredible. And even though I had other gym memberships, the gym was right by my house and made it very easy. And if you have something like that, you may not need to pay for a gym membership. So you guys, really, the sky is the limit here. Tanning, I've never had a tanning sponsorship, but I know many athletes who do. So, if you're consistently using one company or a local company, that's an option as well. Skincare, hair care. I did have an esthetician at one point who was doing free skincare for me, and I just had to post for her, do the post that she wanted. And again, there are people who have hair sponsorships. So like the sky's the limit. I know I sound like a broken record here. Coaching, this was something I never truly had a sponsorship for. I did get compensated for working the Body by O booth for a long time when I was with my coach, Kim Odo. So there are opportunities, you guys. Like I already wanted to be at the shows. I pretty much worked all the muscle contest shows from 2018 through 2021. And around that time, I started shifting into being a full-time coach. So I worked the shows for years and it gave me credits towards my coaching. I wanted to be there anyway. I got to see all my friends and I got to continue to network. So look for these opportunities, seek out these opportunities that are win-win, or I should say in that one, it's a win-win-win. They got someone to work their booth. I got credit toward my coaching. I got to be at the show and I continued to network and meet more people in the industry. So like literally, you got to seek these things out, you guys. You got to be proactive. You got to put yourself out there and connect with people, right? Okay, the last one, med spas, MD clinics, chiropractic, bodywork, etc. There are so many opportunities like these available to you. Many of, I'm trying to think what I don't think I actually have any of these currently. I have in the past, and a lot of those again come from me purchasing from a business or me getting to know the owner, them realizing, hey, if you send me a certain number of clients, we will, give you something in return, whether it's free services or whatever that looks like, or commission for new clients that sign up, whatever that is. So guys, there are so many opportunities. And over the years, I've really found a way to I found a way to piece together all of these things to make competing more affordable. Nowadays, I don't have a million sponsors. I have bikinis. I have Toxic Angels bikinis. I have shoes, Shoe Fairy, code Laura, or pretty much all my codes are Laura. Body Bling jewelry. That was one. How did I even connect with Bao at first? I think I must have purchased her jewelry. Bao is local. And I love to support small businesses. So those are three. I've got Global Formulas, and then I have Lipoxyderm, which is again, that's a fat reducing cream lotion. And that's one I came through with Muscle Contest. But I have been using Lipoxyderm since 2017 or 2018. I've been buying the product. It's not cheap. It's like 50 bucks a bottle. I've been using it for years. And in 2023, they offered me an affiliate position because they saw I was posting it and talking about it. So the sponsorships I have now are ones that I truly feel aligned with. I feel like I can fully meet the requirements. I can promote them. They want to promote me and support me, and these relationships feel really good. So I also encourage you guys, don't just seek to get anything and everything. You can't say yes to everything. Our time is limited. So you got to make sure that whatever you have, it's worth your while. And I hope this was valuable to you. I hope this presentation made sense, gave you some things to think about. So I'm going to wrap it up here. It's getting a little late and my brain is starting to fail me. So if you guys have questions, feel free to DM me, Laura_IFBBPro on Instagram, through the podcast page at Bikini_things. Don't forget, before we go, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, share and rate 5 stars if you're listening on an audio platform. And most importantly, share this with your friend, share this with your bikini besties or your wellness women or your training partner. Share it, you guys. If you got value from this, I know your friends and your training partners and your best friends who are competitors will get value out of this too. I appreciate your support so much, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode.